Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 4th of February in the mighty year 2014. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And this is the first GPTV episode for 2014, Gary. So I'm just going to apologise right here, right up front to all of the viewers. We're rusty. We're still shaking. We're still shaking the sand out of our pockets and the snow on my side. Yeah. But it's great to be back, Gary. It's great to be back, and I'm going to use today's episode of GPTV as the catalyst for really switching myself on this year.
Well, you're looking good, Phil. You're very trim and your hair's very short, isn't it?
Do you know what, Gary? The viewers might be noticing, but I've got a new hairstyle this year.
It's the, what would you call that?
Well, okay, you're probably noticing that last year, in fact, for the great part of my life, for some reason I used to part my hair on that side, on the right side. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know how it worked out, but I'm now parting it on the left side. So some really fascinating bits and pieces about me, viewers.
It's so interesting. A lot of people just turn off now because it doesn't get better than that, does it, Phil?
Just to start off, we had a sales meeting yesterday, Gary, and I addressed the sales meeting in what I thought was a very positive, upbeat way.
Very big pump you gave everybody.
One of the things that we did talk about at length with our sales team in terms of setting ourselves continually apart from our competition is presentation, and we did talk about that at great length. Presentation is very important in the real estate game, and I said to you again today, you're letting the side down, and you do have to lead by example. So please, can you just keep your hair under control? You know, this is what I do. I have my haircut. As I'm paying the bill, I book my next haircut. I put it.
You're savage.
I put it in my diary. It's not that complicated. Anyway, look, it's great to be back. And what a bounce.
Where were you? You went to Europe, didn't you? You went overseas to Europe.
I did. I love travel, and travel inspires me. But I spend a lot of time looking at housing while I'm away. And that
chalets?
No.
French chalets.
Seriously, I've got a prediction. I've got a prediction for 2014, Gary. And this is a 10-year prediction. Right. And it's a prediction based on what's already gathering momentum at the moment. Housing in Australia is going to dramatically change. Viewers, get ready for it. It's already here. We're seeing a lot of opposition to medium density, but there is no question that Australian suburbs are going to become more dense. Australia and America actually are really the last two countries that have sprawled and spread out. No other country, no other city in the world lives the way we do. So my prediction, and this is an ongoing prediction, houses are going to get smaller in Australia. You're going to see more medium density. And I think, viewers, you've got to get used to the fact that we can no longer afford to live on the size parcels of land that we do in the size houses that we do.
And on what ski slope in Val d'Isere did you come up with that conclusion exactly?
Okay.
Or which five-star hotel in Hong Kong?
There's no question that I did ski, and that's a luxury that I allow myself when I can.
Why shouldn't you? You should be happy.
But when I'm away, I'm spending so much time looking at the buildings, looking at housing.
Does that give you tax deductibility?
Well, maybe it does.
I think so.
But there is no question. Look, the change has already arrived in Australia, but it's only going to gather momentum because our houses, really, they're the biggest in the world.
Did the business pay for your trip, or did you pay it personally?
The business paid.
Then I'm not happy. Let's talk about a little bit about the market, Phil. What's happening at the moment? Firstly, let's just finish 2013 because it was amazing. The last 6 months were incredible. And Darren Krongold, our resident statistician, he's pretty freaky, tells me we've sold, I think, 95% of all of the properties we were given. So there's only 5%. A few of those probably still in our books. The rest probably withdrawn.
Some went to the rent roll.
Some went to the rent roll. Some still for sale. Some re-auctioned, in fact, Philip. But 95% of what we were given, we sold. So if you list with Gary Peer & Associates, based on last year, and I think this is going to be a better year, 95%, pretty good.
Now let's talk about the bounce in the market in the second half of 2013. Quick summary for the viewers. 2011, 2012
they were crappy years, I hated them.
They were difficult years, there's no question. 2013, we thought it would be more of the same. We saw the spark start, probably March, April.
A bit later, I reckon.
Well, the spark started, but the flame started burn with greater intensity in June, July, and by August, the spark that had turned into a simmering flame had developed into an all-encompassing fire.
Devouring inferno it was.
No, it wasn't an inferno, but
devouring inferno.
They've definitely picked up strongly. And we think, given the forward bookings that we finished 2013, with our activity in January, our current bookings are all the indication that we know that it's going to pick up from where it left off.
Let's talk about what is going on right now, because we've had our first kind of major weekend, I suppose, in terms of...
We had a lot of properties open this weekend.
We had a lot of properties open, but the most exciting thing was the number of people out there, which was probably about the highest we've seen, I reckon, in probably 3 or 4 years.
And before you talk more about that, I want to just say Gary Peer and Associates is a good barometer of the market.
We've got lots of stuff all over the place.
The reason is because we sell across a lot of suburbs,
a lot of price ranges,
but we sell, most importantly, everything from one-bedroom apartments to mansions and everything in between, which means when we look at the market, when we do our stats, we're able to talk about the sub 500, the 500 to a million, the million to 1.5, the 1.5 to 2.5, and then above. So we are, as a business, a really good barometer of the market.
You reckon we know what we're talking about? Well, we are seeing a lot of stuff, so we do get to have a very good vision of the scope and breadth of properties in different areas.
And we speak to a lot of buyers.
We do. Let's talk about our number one inspection, Philip, because I think, by the way, that we have been too light on price, I'm going to say it. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes we see a property on price and we were just too low. So we're going to put it up straight away. Because we had over 100, we had 120 I think groups of people there. That's just insane. So 70 Mill Street, Middle Park is going to be a whole auction, and we are going to be moving the price guide and responding to the interest that's been there, and it has just been off the Richter scale. But let's just talk about some of the properties that are coming up, Phil, because we're not going to make the episodes too long this year. 136 Alexander Street in East St Kilda. Have a look at this property here.
Where we are sitting now, Gary, this is the most fantastic house. I've got to tell you, I saw it for the first time as we walked in.
You did?
Asked you about the price guide, and I thought, okay, well, we should have a lot of interest in this. Great position, walking distance to the tram and Dandenong Road, walking distance to Carlisle Street, 3 fabulous bedrooms, big, bright, entertaining areas.
1.5 bathrooms.
How good is this back room? The back deck is nothing short of sensational. This property is exactly what the market's looking for.
Well, we quoted $800,000 to $900,000 as a buyer price range, Philip. We've had a lot of interest, so we're having a look at that quote as well. But gee, this is a fantastic property, just so beautifully finished and presented. This particular home, Philip, comes up in February. I think you are going to be doing the auction on the 23rd of February at 10:30 a.m.
This I must say, I love auctioning whatever I auction.
You do.
But I always love auctioning things that have got some real style, like this house does.
Let's talk about a few of the others, Phil. This weekend is too early for auctions, but they're starting the week after. Maybe we'll just review a few of them now.
Okay.
Phil, on Saturday the 15th of February at 10:30 a.m, we are off to Lahona Avenue in Bentley East. This is a fantastic brand new town residence. It is over 2 levels, Phil, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, parking for 2, Phil. This is a magnificent brand new property, and it's going to be affordable, I think, Phil. Going to offer somebody a great opportunity to get into the Bentley East market. Tell us about where you're going to be.
From Bentley East, we're going to go to Kew, and like talking about these...
Near Kew?
No, Gary.
For those who know that joke, we'll stay right away from that. This is a property at 2 at 2. What's the opposite of near Kew?
2 at 2 Willsmere Road in Kew. This is a really good apartment because it's been in the same family's hands for decades. It's in immaculate condition. It's the old style kind of 60s stroke 70s apartment, Gary, which means you're getting a lot more space for your money. So for the apartment buyers, whether you're an investor or owner occupier, that is a beauty in a small block complete with parquetry floors and a lock-up garage. A great one for the portfolio.
So while I'm in Bentley East, you're my neighbour over there in Kew, not too far away.
I should say that it's Saturday the 15th of February at 10:30 a.m, Gary.
And Phil, an hour later, there is a fantastic property coming up in Boondara Grove in East St Kilda. This is a beauty, and I'm pretty sure Jeremy Rosens has got the pleasure of representing this particular property. Philip, this is a magnificent ground floor courtyard apartment right in the heart of East St Kilda, a 2-bedroom in the most beautiful, majestic block, Phil. I think that's going to be very popular and very affordable.
And while we're on it, Gary, can I just say Boondara is a great address and that is a great looking building, but I just want to say to all of the investors out there that St Kilda East is still one of my preferred suburbs for buying a property for a long-term investment. I still think that there's so much value and growth in this suburb. It's discovered, but it's still, in my opinion, undervalued.
All those years ago, Phil, in 1986, when we set up the business, East St Kilda was a bit of a poor cousin to Paran and Caulfield North. Today, today, it's right up there. It matches them, and perhaps even more popular, debatably. Certainly for renters, it's a great
I reckon that we're starting to get better prices now in St Kilda and St Kilda East than we are in Paran. And, you know, Paran was always the suburb of the inner suburbs.
Oh, still good.
No, it's a great suburb. In fact, he lived there for many years. But St Kilda East, I think, has caught up with it and in some instances surpassed it. Interesting.
It has. And talking about St Kilda and St Kilda East, we've got the St Kilda Festival kicking off this weekend. If you can get down there and hobnob it with all of the trendies and
do you know what, Gary? I'm a bit crowd phobic, so I'm not sure that I will. But it is an amazing festival.
So I don't think we'll find him in the mosh pit at the big festival down there, but go down to St Kilda Festival and enjoy it. We don't want to take up any further time on GPTV this week other than to say that this episode is in memory of Barry Newport, who is one of our most loved members of the Gary Pure & Associates family, who's worked since I got into real estate with us as our tradesman, and he was a terrific guy, and he died tragically on Saturday afternoon, and everyone is in mourning in our office, so we'll put up a photo of him, but this is in memory of Barry Newport.
He was such a great guy, and we don't like to end on a sad note, but let's just say we are so excited to bring GPTV to you in the year 2014 because we want to do it better. And I think we're going to break a lot of news on GPTV this year, Gary.
Plenty happening. A action-packed year. Stay tuned. We look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a sensational week and a brilliant, healthy, happy, peaceful and prosperous 2014.
Bye now.